everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Now, I'm sorry for those of you who are tuning in today for a mega unboxing from the European Mint. That's been delayed slightly, but will be coming in the next week or so, so please do stay tuned for that. But actually it's worked out quite nicely because, as you can tell from the title of this video, we're going to be talking today about the gold-silver ratio and whether or not now is the right time to be buying silver, lots of silver, like these 5-ounce rounds from Provident, because we saw a huge jump in gold price, but not so much in silver prices. At the back end of last week, it ended up over $1,300 an ounce. That important kind of barrier has been breached in the US. And in the UK, with the basically plummeting of the pound over the last week or two and the run in gold, we've seen prices now at over £1,033 an ounce, which is quite significant. But the most important thing about that is that the gold-silver ratio has extended even further, which is now approaching 90 to 1, which is pretty bonkers really, especially if you look at the charts back over the last couple of years. It's gone from 70 to 90, which is really good. So that's saying to us as investors, as buyers, as stackers, silver is the right place to put your money right now, surely. But as we've seen this last week, gold was the winner. Gold was the place that everybody put their money. So today's video is going to be a little bit about that, why maybe that is, what's happening with that world of gold and silver, my thoughts and opinions on it. Of course, they are just thoughts and opinions. I'm not here to give financial advice. I'm certainly not here to tell you what you should or should not do with your money. So if you are going to make any financial decisions having watched this video, I'd highly recommend that you go and do a lot more research before doing anything. Now, for those of you who don't know anything about the gold and silver ratio, that is basically the ratio of which, say, a certain amount of money buys you how much gold or how much silver. So if you have X amount of money, it will buy you 90 ounces of gold, 90 ounces of silver or 1 ounce of gold. That's basically it. And if the ratio changes, you can potentially trade up your silver. You could take this 5-ounce round and trade it up for gold. And if the ratio halves, then one way is going to be better for silver. You basically have more wealth in your pocket at the end of the day. I'm not really going to talk about the ratio and how you can play it. That's been done to death in different videos. But it's really an interesting play because we saw the huge run in gold prices. Now that's of course got something to do with the announcement we saw last Friday of the tariffs being put on Mexico and the US, and big serious money investors wanting to put something in a safe haven asset, gold. And that's exactly what gold and silver, I've been preaching that on my channel for the last 3+ years now, that gold and silver are just safe haven assets. Now why though, with the ratio being so high, are the big money people putting it in gold? Why is silver not going up? And it's that time-old thing that I've said on my channel numerous times before. Silver, it's an industrial metal for one, but two, it's not that valuable when it comes to its weight ratio to value. And if you're just buying it on paper, I guess that's not so much of a problem. And I know a lot of these big sort of movers in the market will just be doing it on paper, so it's not really an issue for them. But for the humble stackers and for the big kind of physical stackers out there, if you're buying £20,000 worth of silver, that's heavy. That's a lot of weight, and it's a lot of issue to store it. You've got issues around milk spotting and various things like that as well. Gold has historically been easier, more portable, just generally a better option. However, with this ratio where it is, it's got me thinking that really silver is the place that you should be putting your money right now, shouldn't it? With all of this ratio being where it is, one would expect that silver is going to be the best thing. And that's, I guess, part of the overriding topic of this video, is that silver is either undervalued massively right now, or gold is massively overvalued right now because of the ratio. Do you see what I mean? Like there's a big disparity there. If you look in the past at the historical ratios between gold and silver, now there have been times in history where it's gone to 100 to 1 or 90 to 1. We saw, I didn't see because I was just barely a wee nippersnapper back in the early 90s. It was over 100 to 1, the silver gold ratio. But now it's around the 90. It has previously been as low as 40 to 1 in recent history. Of course, in past history, it was even lower than that, 16 to 1, 8 to 1, even back in ancient day histories. And that's more the level to which it exists in nature. But of course, silver is, fast becoming it's much more of an industrial metal. It's got much more demand in terms of it being a usable commodity than gold. Gold really is just something that sits in a vault, whereas silver is used by electronics companies, manufacturing companies all around the world for various different things. So there's definitely something at play there. But ultimately, it seems like there's something a bit disconnected here. And one of the questions is silver massively undervalued or is gold massively overvalued? Now, again, I'm going to share some thoughts and opinions here. This is not by any means financial advice. My personal opinion is that I think it's a little bit of both. I think silver is undervalued right now. I think that we've seen certainly higher silver prices in the last couple of years. In terms of pound value, it's very difficult because the pound-dollar ratio changes with the different exchange rates that we get across the values of different currencies, and the pound and the dollar have both seen ups and downs over this last couple of years. But we've seen 17.50 an ounce in silver. In dollars, we've seen £14.50 an ounce in UK pounds for silver. If you go back to 2011, 2010, 11, then we've seen $50 an ounce silver. We've seen, £25 an ounce silver. So I do think there's an element of silver being undervalued there, and that's a good indication of where to put your cash. However, I do also think that gold is a little bit overvalued at the moment. Certainly over this last year, we've seen nearly £100 an ounce swing. Maybe not quite so much in in dollars. Maybe it's about $100 swing in that sort of ratio. But with the pound issues that we've been having, that's been changing quite a bit. So I do think that gold is a little bit overvalued in that sense right now in terms of real terms against each other. So who knows exactly what is going to happen? Nobody does. That's, I think, the most important thing. So you'll probably see quite a lot of videos this weekend. If you're the kind of person who wants to go and see all of the opinions about what's the best thing to buy right now, silver or gold, you're going to see lots of different opinions, and it's very important to remember that they are just that, opinions. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen in the future with gold and silver prices, and you'll see all of these things, people saying silver is the most undervalued thing that has ever existed right now. It's going to shoot the moon and all of this jazz. It's not. It's just not going to shoot the moon anytime soon. It might increase relative to gold. The ratio might dip back down. We've seen ups and downs in that, but if you look at the charts, they're all kind of an uptrend ratio right now for the gold-silver ratio. So we could quite easily see 100 to 1 over the course of the next kind of year or so, I think. I don't know, though. That's the whole point of today's video, I suppose. Now, I saw a lot of people on the silver forum. There was a thread saying gold going really high or gold price really high or something like that, which was really interesting to see. People get a lot of, a really big excitement when movements happen upwards anyway, then maybe not so much when they go downwards. People have good reactions to this kind of thing. They think, yes, brilliant, I'm earning loads of money, my stack is growing in value, it's fantastic. I will just remind everybody that you haven't earned anything on your stack unless you actually go and sell something from your stack, or if you've got a paper position that you can release very quickly. So if you've got like 50 ounces of gold sitting in there and you see over the course of 2 weeks a £50 an ounce increase like we've seen here, you think, wow, that's like, it's maths I can't even do quickly in my head. £2,500 profit. Brilliant. Well done. It's not actually profit until you sell it. And things go up, things go down. So do bear that in mind. Now, of course, if you are looking to sell things, gold is a lot more liquid at the moment. I definitely think gold is so much of an easier thing to sell right now. If you were to take a bunch of gold into Hatton Garden Metals, they'd buy it off you, no problems whatsoever. If you took a very large quantity of silver, I would imagine they would buy it because that's kind of their mantra. They want to buy it, but you certainly won't get as good a price, or good a return on your money from that kind of purchase or sale, basically. So it's interesting. Silver might be the better buy in terms of that ratio and where it's heading and where you might be able to get some returns on it. But I do think that gold holds true as that place to put your cash for the longer term. And that weight ratio, I know I keep going on about it, but the weight ratio is really, really important. So yeah. Now, from my perspective as an investor, let's just talk about, or as a stacker investor, I always want to bring this home with how this is all going to affect me and what my plans are. So there's no surprise to all of you out there that I like gold. I buy a lot of gold. Well, I buy enough gold. I don't buy a lot of gold by any stretch. I'm no like that. What was it? The Iranian gold hoarding prince that was sadly executed. Or the gold king, gold coin king, or something like that. It was. I don't hoard gold like that, but I do think gold is better for that longer term strategy. If you're just going to put it in a vault somewhere, and leave it for 30 years, I do think gold is going to be the better bet, and it's certainly a lot easier to store. However, in the short term, I do think silver has got some legs. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It certainly is. And there's a whole host of different factors at play. So who knows is the honest answer. So that's a bit of a lackluster conclusion to today's video. Let's just recap it though. Gold-silver ratio, really, really high at the moment. Certainly the highest in the last 5, 6, 7 years that it's been. Since 2011, it's gone from 40 to 90, so you could have made a killing on the gold-silver ratio if you'd bought in the right way round. But don't go overhaul. Don't sort of think that silver is, you know, stupidly undervalued right now, and that you're going to make your millions by playing the ratio, because any time now it's going to drop back down to 40. If it drops down, it will be a very quick drop back down. It will be because there's a huge price correction in one or other item. I do think there's still room to grow in the gold-silver ratio. I think it's going to hit 100 to 1 in the next couple of years. So the honest answer is buy what you think is right for your stack, for your investments, for your strategies. Don't buy what other people tell you to buy. Only buy what you can afford. And that's the only kind of piece of advice I'll give. It's not financial advice. It's just common sense advice. It's what I live by. It's what Mrs. Backyard Bullion and I both live by. Not just investing in silver and gold, but just generally day-to-day life. Do you really need that huge grande cup of coffee that's going to cost you $6? Do you need that giant TV, or will a slightly smaller one actually suffice? And it costs you $200 less, or whatever it is. You know, there's all these silly things that people spend their money on that you don't necessarily need in life. And all you really need in life is food, head, and love of family. And that's, I say head, a roof over your head. That's what I was meant to say. Of course you need a head to live. You get my point. Spend your money wisely, I think is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, look, I'm starting to really ramble now. Thank you for watching if you have. If you've enjoyed today's video on this, please do let me know by putting that thumbs up button and commenting down below with your thoughts on the silver-gold ratios. If you want to see future videos from us, then please do make sure you hit that subscribe button, especially if you want to see a cool unboxing video that's coming out probably next week. We don't know exactly the date that video will go live yet. We like to try and get everything processed and shipped out before we make any videos live, but hopefully it will be within the next week. Otherwise, that is all I have to say. I hope you have a brilliant week ahead. Thank you one and all for watching, and as always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.